across the top.
Supposed to.
We didn't have this. Oh, you know why? You gotta go into the settings and tell it to change up.
I mean, that is wild.
Okay, there we go. Okay, scooch in a little bit.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we'll figure it out. Over.
It's gonna be
Hello, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are live. We had to change up the screen, so we're gonna be a little bit tighter tonight. So welcome, everybody. Tonight is election night, November the 5th. And we are excited. We are ready to go. We are looking at not only the presidential races, but we are looking at the local elections all around California, really. My name is Tamuri Richardson. I am your TeeTalk. It is a global vibe. I have two guest broadcasters with tonight. Before I introduce them, I just want to let you know that I have to give a disclaimer that the many words and views, expressions, and stuff that you hear tonight are not the views necessarily of Power 8.fm. So when you are offended, angry, mad, or sad, do not call them. Don't call me either, but do not call them either. So over here on my right, your left, I want to introduce you to Dr. Ramona Bishop. Please do an introduction.
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Dr. Ramona Bishop. I'm a career educator living in the Bay Area. California girl, born and bred, and I'm excited about being here tonight.
Thank you. Over here to my left and to your right is Mr. Vernon Williams. Introduce yourself, please, Vernon.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Vernon Williams III. I am a Vallejo resident, lifelong resident of Solano County, real estate professional, and excited to be here this evening.
Wonderful. We're going to talk about a lot of things up and down. We're going to go over the election, but most importantly, we want to hear from you. So we want to engage. We want you to call us. We want you to comment on our live. We have someone, that someone is me, that's tracking the live. So we'll get your comments. We won't say your name, but if you have comments and questions, if you want to call in, our number is 601-588-8836. It is 601-588-8836. So please write that down and give us a call. Let us know if you've got questions about the candidates. If you've got comments, we're going to be talking about propositions. We're going to be talking about the local race. We are here in Solano County, so we are going to be covering all 7 cities. I think with the exception of Benicia and Rio Vista, but we're going to be covering Vacaville, Sassoon, Fairfield, Dixon. We're going to be covering the 11 California State Assembly race, as well as the California State Senate and the local Senate race and the Congressional, I think it's District 4. So hang tight with us. And we've got prizes. So first caller that calls in, we've got a prize for you for being our first caller at 601-588-8836. And we're going to be quizzing you throughout. We're going to ask you questions. The person that knows the answer to those questions, we're going to also give prizes as well. So we have a caller on the line. I'm going to go ahead and just open it up to the caller, and then we're going to get on into it. They've been waiting for a little bit of time. Caller, you are on the line live. Don't say anything that embarrasses your family. Can you hear us, caller? Caller might have muted. Caller, can you hear us? Oh, caller, you are on live. Can you hear us?
Is the caller on the line?
The caller says they're on the line. Yeah. All right. Well, we're going to go ahead and call back 601-588-8836. All right. They'll call back in. So let's go over the numbers so far. We've got people here in our studio audience that are manning the numbers. So we know so far for the presidential race, we've got 179 for Harris, Trump 14. But I want to know from you guys, and I'm going to start with you, Ramona. What are you looking forward to? What race are you really most interested in tonight?
For me, really, it's the presidential. This is the one that I feel like is going to be about the future. How we exist as a country, how we exist as our world is going to be determined by this race. So I'm looking forward to seeing what the result is going to be.
What about you, Vernon?
You know, for me, I think it's more of the local, because that's going to have more of a direct impact on our quality of life. Who's setting legislation policy for those of us on the local. I'm definitely connected to the presidential race, as everyone is. I think historical moment, but as it relates directly to my quality of life, I'm most interested in what's happening here locally.
Very good. I agree with both of you guys. I mean, what's interesting is that the numbers are coming in so high already for Trump. And I think most of them said they're at 30% and they're already calling states and they're already calling electorates, and I'm not really about that. But we're going to come back to that. We're also going to come back with the numbers for the local races as well, as those are still being primed up here and calculated based on the registrar's office. But let's talk about some of these propositions, and we were just talking about this before we got on screen. Let's start with Proposition 3. How Proposition 3 is going to do, and what are your thoughts on it? Because I can tell you mine.
Well, I'd like for somebody else to start because I'm not the expert on this one.
Well, I'll start. I'm not the expert either. I can respect that. But my understanding of Position 3 is that right now, state constitution is referred to as marriages between man and a woman. And the group that put this forward are requesting that there be a from man and woman, since same-sex marriage is recognized as legal, especially here in California. Now, let me give you my opinion on that. So I've got kind of a middle-of-the-road opinion on this. One of the is that, okay, I'm not a fan of messing with stuff and touching things. It's been Constitution, it's been in place for a long time. But we already know that things, just because they've been in place, doesn't necessarily mean that they match the times of today. Also understand, if you're someone and you're a man married to a man, well, then the Constitution doesn't represent you. Now, how do you feel being a citizen or proposed Christian? And this is a proposition that's up, and it might even win for tonight. Vernon, please. You go ahead and give us some insight. Inquiring minds want to know.
Well, in all honesty, at this same-sex marriage is already legal in our state.
Correct.
Right? So that argument is a moot point, although I would love to argue that down. It's a moot point. Since we've already set that as law in our state, then, from that perspective, I see the political correctness to make sure that the definition in the Constitution is in alignment with what the law is for the state as it relates to marriage. My personal perspective on that is a little bit different.
Okay. Take the wheel. I get a wheel back.
Take the wheel and give it back to me in a second. I agree on this.
So I think I agree with Vernon that all politics is local, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that that whatever happens here locally is going to trickle out into the nation, typically.
Mm-hmm.
So when you think about California, same-sex marriage.
Mm-hmm.
Changing California's constitution is going out into our nation.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's right and good to do, honestly. Born and raised in San Francisco, that's just my demographic. Been around the gay community all my life. And so I believe that what they're attempting to do is correct the Constitution so that it'll trickle out into the nation. There will be these ways of getting at gay marriage through the Supreme Court and all of that. I think there's a protection there that needs to happen.
Right. And so that's what's up on the proposition today. I mean, that's what's up on the ballot today. So it's determine what people feel, if they feel that right now, the way the state constitution is, it's not fair and just. So, I mean, it doesn't personally, but I try to always be middle of the road and respect people that might feel, well, this doesn't represent us. We pay taxes, we're citizens, we're Americans too, and if we say this needs to represent us, then, and listen, all things from the Constitution aren't really fair to everybody.
That's true.
So, change is necessary. Let's go on over to Proposition 6. We had a robust conversation about this offline, so let's talk about that.
So when it came to voting for this one, reading my voter's guide very carefully, because I understand the need to remove the name slavery, right? We don't want anyone to be in slavery or servitude. That's not okay. But I didn't see what the alternative was. All it said was remove slavery from our penal system, right? I didn't see what is it going to look like. What are the prisoners going to be doing? Will they be making more money then they make, what I know is that they make, what, pennies on the dollar?
Pennies on the dollar, yeah.
And so was it gonna be a minimum wage? I didn't know what the proposal was based on what I was reading. I still voted for it, but I still would like to know a little more detail about it.
Got it. Let me get a call. We have a caller just jumped in. I think we have a call. Listen, caller, if you calling in and you calling in up now, you figure this out and wait in line. It may take us a few minutes to get to you. I think they called and got disconnected. So call back, caller. Did you have something?
Yeah, I just want to just be clear. I think Proposition 6 is to remove involuntary servitude as punishment for a crime, right? So involuntary meaning we're going to, and if anyone knows anything about being in the Department of Justice or California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation, it is the modern form of slavery. It is legalized slavery. It's when you do have individuals working for 6 cents an hour, 8 cents an hour, 12 cents an hour. Some of the furniture that people sit on, the license plates that you guys customly order, those are made by those individuals for 6, 8 cents an hour. So a part of the way that the system is up now is that in order for you to get credit for time served, 50%, 80%, whatever that looks like, you have to have some form of a job. You have to work. If we get into the California Department of Justice or criminal justice system in itself, it is a privatized industry. Right? The inmates are stock.
Right.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So this is legalized slavery to where they're making a profit off of incarcerating you, and then you're getting free labor, mandating that they work for you to run the system. If you've ever been behind a wall, if you know someone who's been in the system, the inmates run the facility, not the correctional officers. It's not the medical staff. It's inmates who do all the administration, all the operations, and they're literally getting paid pennies on the dollar. Now the question then becomes, how much money do these private prison facilities actually generate off the backs of those who are getting paid 6 cent, 8 cent, 12 cent, $1 an hour if you got a really, really good job? I mean, this can go both ways. Making it a voluntary program, as opposed to you forcing me into this free labor, is I think what Proposition 6 is talking about, and I'm all for it. Make it voluntary. Let us focus on the rehabilitation piece of the CDCR.
But isn't this really a Band-Aid? Because let me tell you one of the things that was a turn off for me really being able to understand and process what this is. Don't give me buzzwords like slavery, right? Like this is, you're absolutely right. A lot of people don't realize this is a business. These prisons are private. So maybe instead of the proposition being about, because what they didn't mention anything about them getting no money, getting the cents on the dollar, that's ridiculous. It mentioned nothing about that. It focused on the buzzword being the outrage that we were gonna say no, and the average person that reads needs to look. This proposition should have been, let's stop prisons. Let's start getting real rehabilitation. Let's start talking about what that looks like. Let's start reunifying these fathers and mothers behind prisons with their kids so that the kids aren't going through life with so much trauma. If you are requiring me to run your prison, to work in your prison, to do whatever needs to do to keep sustained, then I should be getting at least minimum wage. But where is the age for shutting these down? So we want to keep you incarcerated, but we don't keep you incarcerated like this. So it fell off for me, and it wasn't something that I could get behind. It didn't have much substance to it for me.
Yeah, it's not profitable to really rehabilitate a family. It's not profitable. It's
like the homeless problem.
It's not profitable.
Yeah.
So, just like slaves being emancipated back in the day, that wasn't profitable.
Right.
So, that's why you had such big uproars and upheavals around the freeing of, why they use the term slavery, because it'll have us having this conversation right now.
Absolutely.
And it was a chord within people of color. Slavery, that's a buzzword that's going to get us who are more directly impacted by incarceration to stand and vote against that.
Absolutely.
But I think that, I don't know, I think terminology and the usage of terminology to strike emotional chords, to vote on some legislation is not all the way clear, is another form of manipulation.
Absolutely.
I mean,
they could have done better with how they presented this bill. And I think people will vote for it not even knowing really what they voted for, which is unfortunate. The other thing is, let's go to position, and we're going to cover a lot of ground because I know we're going to have a break coming up here shortly. But Proposition 36. And wait a minute, before we go there, let's get some of our local numbers that are so right now for the U.S. Senate race between Adam Schiff and Steve Garvey, Schiff is leading with 63.73, and Garvey has 36.27. We have our local state Senate race between Christopher Gabaldon and Tom Bogue, and Gabaldon is leading with 63.39. Bogue is 36.61. And the congressional race between Mike Thompson and Mr. Munn, I apologize, I forgot his first name, 55.8. Thompson is leading, Munn is 44.12. And for California State Assembly, we have Wilson is leading with 63.07, and Dave Ennis, which is the opponent, is 36.93. Do we have any of the local races with the city council, the mayor? All right.
Drum roll, please.
All right. Okay, so we're gonna go to the Vallejo, and I kind of want to dial into this. So Vallejo mayor race is between there's Pippin Dew, Andrea Source, Robbie Shankar, and Dwight Monroe. And for, let's see, Pippin Dew is 0.34, Source has 40.19, and Shankar is that 6.67? And Monroe is 13.51. Oh, okay. Oh, stop there really quick. Who do you think is going to take it for the Vallejo mayor's race?
That's a good.
I mean, it's been obvious. Listen, what I can say is Andrea Source, her street game has been tight. I mean, I've seen her all over social media. Yeah. I haven't seen that much of Pippin Dew. I know she probably a Vallejo favorite. A lot of people know her. But yeah.
Well, Pippin, Pippin has her. She has name recognition.
Yeah.
Right. She's connected to a certain network in the city of, right. But Source ground game. I was at a home inspection for a property that my buyer's in contract in Hidden Brook today, and the home inspector who was at the property, we knew each other because we both live in the city of Vallejo. So we started talking politics. Who'd you vote for? She straight up came to I voted for Andrea Source. So why did you vote for her? And she told me why she voted for her, and it made total sense. It's a fresh perspective.
Sure.
Andrea is saying the right things.
Yeah.
She's polished in terms of her messaging and her presentation. Her ground game was tight.
Right.
And as it relates to Pippin, who is a good friend of mine, know her pretty well, but it seems that is connected to historical status quo. Right. Which, if you just go back to our days of filing for bankruptcy, there has been a continuum of the same thread, interwoven into our city leadership that seems to have, we've made some progress, but by no stretch of the imagination to the leaps and bounds that we have the potential to. It just seems like we haven't been able to kick the lid off and just burst out with potential. And there's reasons for that. And it could be those familiar names that have name recognition, which is why it's really close. Because Andrea's never been in.
And she certainly shouldn't be that close to a seasoned politician.
Yeah, I think she couldn't run again because she turned out in terms of
city council.
Serving her full capacity. I mean, she's been a part of leadership for a really long time.
Absolutely. I mean, looking at that, the mayor race in Vallejo, the race is between Dew and Source.
It is?
Yeah. I couldn't, it's between those two.
It absolutely is, and yes, it absolutely is. So
awesome.
This is going to be interesting.
Okay, let's do City Council District 6. I'm gonna say her nickname Cookie because I don't. Is it
Helen Marie?
Helen Marie. Okay, very good. And Christina Ariola, who's already a current city council. Cookie has 46.52 coming out the gate. Dina has 52.90. But listen, I remember when she ran back. What was it in like 20?
Yes.
She was on them heels back then.
Yes.
So I mean, people get comfortable in these seats and they don't know there's some new people coming and they're gonna be riding you like a horse.
Yeah,
Vallejo is, and I didn't talk about this, but I'm an educator in Vallejo, been working there for years. And Vallejo is looking for something different.
Oh yeah.
And so it's voters, like you said, Brent, are really just looking for who is going to blow the roof off of this beautiful city.
Absolutely.
Who is going to make it live up to its promise.
Yeah,
And Cookie has been working behind the scenes for a long time.
that's what I hear. That's what I hear.
Source came out of the gate strong, so
Yeah.
much so
She
that
did.
the very same conversation I'm hearing as well.
Same here.
And then, lastly, Matthias, who has been working multiple different councils
Mhm.
And that's in
really
District
out
1.
there,
Mhm.
grassroots.
Mhm.
Hey, we might have some upsets here.
Yeah, I'm rooting for that kid.
Well, District 1, we,
Brenda Pachardi.
Brenda Pachardi, right. And then there's Alex
Alexander
Matthias. Matthias, okay.
And Carl Bonner.
Very good.
Okay.
Oh, because, I don't know what I wrote. Was that what I wrote?
No, it's not, but she got it right. Praise
But-
the Lord for administrators. Okay, extra knuckles, please. You need.
Because I made up some.
You need thumbs on your
I'm
wrist.
like, look, the brother ain't out there, so I just made up a
He's not
name.
out there.
Yeah.
And I had a issue with him early in the game, but I just want to speak to Matthias. When we ran against each other in 2020 for District 1, and he was kind of new to the scene. We ran against the incumbent, and it was like a three. And I'm glad to see that he put his name back in the hat. He's connected, right? He stays visible,
He has
but
been.
he's got a fresh lens,
Yeah.
though. And the young brother is super intelligent and articulate with some creative on how to present a fresh wave of governance. Here's what we're missing in Bell. Our city council doesn't operate in the capacity that it's designed to operate in based upon the city charter. It gives direction to the city manager as a directive from the governing body to go and make and manifest 1, 2, 3 with your city staff and come back and report to us what you've done as we continue to provide direction for you to go out and execute and implement. That's not the flow. So in order for to shift that flow to get a different result, we're gonna need some fresh perspectives. We're gonna need some Matthiases in there. We may need some Dreas, and she sure is throwing her best punch. So I'm just gonna be interested to see how this really unfolds.
But somebody can to be the mayor, like a city like Vallejo that's been through a lot of turmoil, a lot of ups and downs, and have not quite been able to figure out what to do or how to do it. What is if Dew or Source is elected mayor, what is the first thing we should expect them to do in their first 100 days besides, coming in and some people doing 15 different inaugurations?
I agree with Vernon, there has to be a plan.
Gotta be a plan.
Based on input from individuals throughout the city, diverse individuals
Yeah.
throughout the city. Not just one section of the city, throughout the city.
Yeah.
Generational, conversations about what needs to happen. And then move on it,
Yeah.
unapologetically. And support staff, support people who come into the city with a certain level of expertise. The city has a revolving door for people who are smart, capable, because they don't want to be bullied
Yeah.
by individual council members.
I mean, Source seems like she's a leader. She seems like she's a leader, gonna get it done.
We're gonna need people. Okay, there's 7 seats in the council. The mayor is only 1 seat, 1 vote. Okay, you're gonna have to have a majority vote to get things passed. And there's been this division within the council to see who can influence what.
Right.
But with a fresh perspective, with a fresh collaborative mindset, they have the potential to totally flip over and undo what has been done to really create, because the alignments can be reformatted, the alignments can be redesigned, the collaboratives can look just they can be collaborative based around issues and not silos, cliques, and pockets of the city.
I agree, and I would have liked for Ravi to run for city council. I would have liked him to do that,
Early on the line.
and I was like, for Ravi. Ravi is a nice guy.
Yes, he is.
I don't
He's
know.
very involved in the city.
You don't know
of-
Robbie, Dr. Bishop?
I don't. I've met him. but I
Ravi
don't-
is.
Yeah.
He's
yeah,
a nice
is
guy, and you've got people who are committed to the city and being
Yeah.
involved. So I would have thought he should have run for city council and not go for such a big seat.
I believe that Robbie has run for city council before.
Oh,
I think in 2020 he ran, and I think he even put his hat
Did he?
in the ring 16, but he
Pulled it out.
Yes.
Okay.
So
And the person we haven't talked about is Dr. Ledishu.
well, she doesn't have an
unopposed, but she's impressive.
what is she running for?
She's
District
city council, district, is it
3?
3?
Oh, that's
Mina,
Mina's district?
that's right. I would have loved to see run for her seat again.
I think she got tired. Dr. Bishop, you would know better than me.
I don't know.
No?
I don't know, but I do know
I can
she's
imagine.
supporting Ledeju. This is an executive from San Francisco in the housing department.
Is that?
So
There's
she's
a,
Dr. Tanya Ledeju, Lediju.
it says she's a CEO.
She is the CEO
I didn't
of
know
the
the city and
House-
state of
Listen.
San Francisco had.
Do City
they?
Council of San Francisco. She's running the housing department there, and so she has some very unique ideas about what we can do.
Oh,
with
I love
housing.
that.
All right, you guys, we're
Love
getting ready to take a quick break. I want to give you the number again for those of you who are on 601-588-8836. That's 601-588-8836. We have prizes. The first caller that calls this number, we've got a prize for you. So don't forget to call us. We're going to take a really brief break, and we will be right back. Now, I don't know how we taking a break.
Let's go Robbie out there on the air.
We on there. We still on the air.
How y'all doing? This little backhand conversation.
They can hear you. Okay, Deshaun, let us know when we're going back. We're just gonna sit here
Okay,
quiet.
Sean, I need you to have a cue for both systems.
Okay.
Is the
So-
mic off?
Yeah.
But that they can hear it.
I need you to get it together.
Now you have to vet people that you're doing this with.
Well, like,
There's no way for you to stop
Oh,
it.
hell, I didn't say this is the first time it makes a damn
You
enemy.
can mute it right there, son.
Did you say something?
All right, you guys.
She
This is our
did.
first live.
She said-
Up, right there. All right, everybody, we are back. Okay, let me apologize. We're also live on the radio, so we have to take breaks. It's what we're supposed to do. So if we have to take a brief little break and we're over here laughing, it's because Vernon got some issues.
That means when we take a break, you go take a break too.
You go get you some water, run to the bathroom, pull up, and you come right on back.
Ain't no telling what might be said during the break time. We're supposed to be on mute.
So for anything that was offensive, write letters to Vernon Williams. All right, y'all, let's get into Fairfield. We kind of dissected into cover Vallejo enough.
So.
Okay. All right, so the city of Fairfield, City Council, District 4. District 4 is Joe Joyce, Joe Martinez, and Pam Bertani. Pam Bertani, seasoned City Councilwoman. She was in District 6 and then redistricting. Hold on 1 second, you guys. We got a caller coming through. Let's get this caller.
Please don't be one of the candidates.
Hey, candidate, the caller.
Lord
You're on live. Can you hear us? Something must be going on with this.
I thought you had it on Do Not Disturb.
I did, but I took it off. It has to be their phone. We can't hear you, caller. So I'm sure what's going on, but we can't hear the caller. So I don't know. All right. Try to call us back. We can't hear you at all.
Okay, so let's talk about Fairfield.
All right.
So Pam has been on, she's been in the council for multiple terms, hasn't she?
I think she's been there for
Long time.
3 terms. Oh, we're calling back. All right, caller, we're going to try this again. Can you hear us? Are we having an issue with the calling? I have no idea why we cannot hear our caller. 1 second.
Is it on speaker?
No, it doesn't have to be. It just comes in.
Okay.
Might be because, oh, you know what? It might be, okay, sorry. Let's keep on going. I can, handle that later. I know why it is the Do Not Disturb. Caller, can you hear us now? We got people.
I think your sister need a reboot.
I know a show it need a reboot. Now, how about them apples? Now listen, you want this to be real live? It's about to be real live. Okay.
Don't show them your true colors, Tamuri. No, the whole world is watching. Y'all gonna see how she really get out.
Shut up. All right, let's go to Fairfield. Okay, you were talking. Pam Bertani's been on here for three terms for the city council.
What's Fairfield's economic condition? Because see, I'm from Vallejo, but I came up starting in junior high school. So back then, Fairfield was fairly conservative. It had, the economy was booming. The Sun Mall passed through Vallejo, landed in Fairfield, and now.
You was right in the middle of something we were pretending to listen to. Go on with it. Go on with it now, Vernon.
What is their state of their economy right now?
Sorry. I think they have a deficit of some sort. I remember at one point it was about $1 million, and then it was climbing, and then I don't know what it is exactly at this point in time. But what I do know is, and listen, this is still early in the election. We don't know what the numbers are going to look like. This is just the first numbers. I don't know what the percentage of precincts have been collected, but we've got probably, until it gets about 88%. But yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, but historically, whoever's really leading with them after the mail-in ballots are counted, generally the one who's in the local elections, generally the one who's got a higher probability to win. Yeah, because you don't get many people into the polls.
All right, let's try this again with another call. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Okay, so if I kind of get interrupted by another fake call, because you're trying to act like online, you don't know. Like we got hella calls in the queue. We can't connect now one of these motherfuckers. My mama might be watching my language. She was trying to stop me.
We didn't have a problem with this when we tested. Can you hear us, caller? No. Okay, so it happened on my end. I'm going to go out and come back in.
Who are watching via live.
Okay, let's call right back, okay?
It's really some calls on the phone. She not fronting. We just can't seem to get to the technology functioning.
Okay, caller, we'll call back. We'll get that handled. So is your point that, I don't know why anybody would be calling me on the air when clearly I'm on the air, but is that the city is still supporting the same people
I mean, that just seems to be the.
But the public doesn't listen. We have to be fair to the average person. We've got a couple of things that's going on in this country. We've got a lot of identity politics. People are voting based upon race.
True.
And when you vote based upon that, you have clearly no expectation of anything other than seeing of someone's skin, whether it's white, Asian, Native American, black, or whatever the case might be. But there is another caveat to that. People want to see us represented, right? So
Yeah.
if I'm a woman, or I'm this, or if I'm you've got 3 different groups represented. Joyce is of Asian descent, Martinez is, I believe, Hispanic, and Bertani's black. So not running because there isn't a demographics that interested, but the problem is always going to be is that people are not aware of how to vote.
That's right.
They don't know what to, and this is an affluent, this is in the sanctuary area. These are where the homes are $1 million.
Right.
So these residents are thinking, hey, listen, I got the biggest problem I got is a peacock. No, it's not, honey, because when you go downtown and they're trying to go and pick you up some milk, you got other problems. So it's not just voting for your area or people in your district. It's when you're going to grocery stores, when you go to the mall and there's a smash and grab. It's when you go downtown and there's no retail, so it looks like you're waiting for tumbleweeds to come flowing through the downtown. You go to a park and you got to fight through the homeless people. It's more than your district. You are electing somebody to come in and make city decisions to make up for your family.
That's interesting. You mentioned tumbleweeds rolling through the middle of the street. Because about a month ago, I swear I went downtown to Fairfield after the Rodriguez game to go hang out with some of my people, and it was some legit tumbleweeds.
It was some
rolling down the
tumbleweedage.
middle of the
It was, yeah.
Fairfield, y'all need to do better.
Well, it looks like they.
What tumbleweeds?
Well, that's when there's nothing there.
Oh.
Okay. Well, side note on that.
Dr. Bishop, like, hold on.
So you ain't never watched the Western?
Tumbleweeds are beautiful. They're prickly.
We will work with her. All right. Let's move on over. Now, District 6. Now, this is a little shocking to me. And I don't know either of these people very well. So, Anna Eaton in District 6 of Fairfield, she got everybody in their grandmother's endorsement. Literally. I think she got a grandmother's endorsement up there, somebody's.
Who's on beer?
He's ran for a lot of office a lot of times. So if he win this, he didn't put in the work. He's ran like 12 times. Now I'm just
Exactly.
I'm
But he had a lot, like
He's
Robbie
ran a
and
lot.
Vallejo. Like Robbie and Vallejo.
Robbie's a great guy. I don't know.
I'm just saying he's ran a lot.
She's ran a lot.
He's
Yes.
ran and a half.
If that is what we are using for runnage, then yes.
Who is the incumbent in that list?
No, it isn't. So what happened is,
Oh.
this was Pam Bertani, the council.
Got it.
They redistrict, and so Rick Vaccaro decided to run again because Pam was going into District 4.
Got it.
So she ran for that, and so that doesn't have now a council person.
What is Vaccaro doing nowadays?
I don't know him well enough to tell. Okay. District 6, Manveer and Anna Eaton. Manveer's got 51.19. Now, he is on the Travis School Board. So that might be, listen, sometimes for people that's all it takes for them is for you to get out there and sit on the board. Anna Eaton, 48.29, but keep in mind, these are early numbers.
Yes.
So that doesn't necessarily mean a lot. Over to Vacaville, my city, where I live. Jason Roberts happens to be my city councilman for my district in
He's in a
Vacaville.
dogfight.
Well, that's no doubt, because listen, let me tell you the guy, and I don't even want to pronounce his last name. I'll butcher it, and I don't want him sending me an email because I'm not going to read it. But in District 5 of Vacaville, Ted is at 50.9. Jason Roberts is at 49.13. Jason Roberts has been a really good city councilman. I know my understanding is Ted is a little bit more conservative. Vacaville is very conservative.
Always have been, yeah.
But what I like about Roberts, and I'm going to tell you what I like about Jason Roberts, he's very kind. I said this. He's got soft leadership. He's more liberal than I in a lot of approaches, but the world can't be one thing.
True.
So even though he stood in some arenas where I didn't necessarily agree, he's got to support some demographics, some other demographics. And so I'm excited to see where this will go. I certainly hope he takes it. I enjoy him being my city councilman. I don't know who Ted is. I know he's got a shag or something. So that's all.
He's a cool dude.
Well, he's an older gentleman, I think.
With a shag?
It looked like it was Shad.
So what would you say the major issues? Vernon talked about Fairfield and like the budget. What do you think is happening in Vacaville? What are people most concerned about?
So let me tell you, my district is not a district that has a lot of problems. And this is going to be with the exception of, I would think, Mike Silva, who in his district, I don't want to say the number, it might be 3, but I'm not sure. It's over near Brown Street and Markham, which historically has had more problems and more kind of a lower income. In here in Vacaville.
That's the hood in Vacaville.
It's Vacaville's hood. We've got one street and then we've kind of got the Markham area. Beautiful area. Hope we didn't offend anyone. Don't email me, don't call me. But
if it's the hood, it's the hood. Every city has one.
It's hoodish around there. But you know, some people don't see their neighborhood like that to them. But nonetheless, I don't think we've got we don't have a food desert. We are right near, we don't have a lot of crime. We have schools.
Public school system is thriving.
My concept is it ain't broke, don't try to fix it.
Right.
So I don't know, you know, listen, and I know people run for a lot of different reasons. I like Jason Roberts. I couldn't pinpoint to you things in my area because, you know, I love my area. I've been here for 9 years.
Shout out to my Ian Smutsler, Chief of Police.
He is fantastic.
City of Vacaville Police Department. That's my guy.
Yes, absolutely. I love
Shout out
Vacaville
to you,
PD. Absolutely. Thank you. We don't need more shout outs or shameless plugs.
We've been boys since elementary school.
That's right.
This is a personal relationship.
Very good.
Shout out to Ian Smutsler.
You did. And you got his name right. Very good. All right, Vacaville School Board. So the 2 running for Vacaville School Board
Silva's not in the school board no more. He's going to city council.
He's been in city council. He's running for a 2nd term. He's running against a gentleman named Mark Reed, I think it is.
Brother? No.
Now, what made you think he was a brother, Mark or Reed?
I know someone named Mark Reed that's a brother.
Making some notes here, 'cause I ain't got time for this shit. Now let's go on over to the school board. We got Michelle Guerrera and Michael. I think it's Kitz's.
Oh, where's that race? Where's it?
So Michelle Wright's at 32.68. Michael is 40.58. So listen, she is the chair of the Solano County Republican Central Committee. I don't know a lot about him, and so here's where I start to feel a kind of way. If you're an incumbent, nobody coming into the race should be that close to you if you've been getting down and doing what needs to be done. There's no reason. Now, let's talk about, there's a measure. You guys familiar with the Measure E in the city of Vacaville?
No, educate us.
Please.
Okay, so I don't know a whole lot about it. I can tell you what my ballot said. I was not impressed and I voted against it. And I know there's been a huge amount of support. I know Councilman Roy Stockton, who I have a great deal of respect for, was urging people to vote for it. On the ballot, it states infrastructure, right? It goes into infrastructure pretty heavy, right? And so that's fantastic, but infrastructure is a general word. That can mean anything and everything. But as we talk about it and as it was being explained on social media from city council people, it's to pay for a new school. It's to, do different schools. But here's my question. You've got developers. Leisure Town has been built up near Kaiser for years.
Yep.
What did you think they were bringing their puppies? They're bringing kids. They're having babies. Why? We've got Lagoon Valley. Those houses are nice too, matter of fact, over there by Pino Adobe, off of Lagoon Valley. They are building over there. Why is the city not talking to developers and saying, you want to build here? Then you need to pay half of this $25 million, $50 million, it costs $50 million to put up a new school. And so why are we paying for it? And you're getting ready to sell all these homes, be rich, and skip off into the sunset. Why are you taxed with this? But it's not clear on the ballot. So I voted no against it. And they said it's going to be an oversight committee. Well, put that on the ballot. Because I don't want this going into general funding. Now you buying cats and chickens and stuff.
I got a question about that. It could be regardless of the city. When developers come in to develop, who initiates that thought or that conversation to where you're having the developers contribute to the local economy, whether it's in education or whatever other. Who initiates that conversation?
I don't know the
Who sets
initiation.
the framework for that?
I know it lands in the lap of the city council and the mayor and the city managers in there, right? I know those things.
Okay.
And so let me just give you a great example. I remember Congressman Mike Thompson came and did a town hall here in Vacaville, right? And the town hall in Vacaville was about the biotechnology that's coming to Vacaville and this boom, and we're so excited about it. My question to him at the town hall was, but where's the contract and the agreement that they're going to hire 5% of the people that are going to be from Vacaville? Right. Where's the contract that 20% of the people are going to be from Solano County? Where's the contract that you're going to contribute money back into the community, that you're going to help businesses, that you're going to help the corporations? All we're doing is bringing you here. You're giving us a tax. Giving you a huge tax break. You're bringing people with you. We still have unemployment issues, and then guess what? So the city council should be, I believe, in my understanding, and the city manager should be working with these folks. When you come here, how are you going to improve the life of the citizens, the community, and the business in the city of Vacaville? We're so excited to say, oh, we got biotechnology coming. So what?
So as that relates to Vallejo, because I'm from Vallejo, it would be the city council, city manager being in alignment by setting a standard of expectation for businesses to come into the city. You're going to have to engage in this way, as opposed to being happy that Roscoe Chicken.
Is there a Roscoe?
No, Dr. B.
Oh, okay.
It's slow with me for a minute, Dr. Bishop.
Wow.
But what I'm saying, instead of being excited that a business is coming to come,
right,
set a precedence for your residents, or set a precedence for businesses coming in to have to be a contributor to the economy in a certain way, or you can't come.
Yes.
I think that makes a landscape more attractive, makes a municipality more attractive.
Absolutely.
Right.
And to piggyback on that, there are cities where when developers are coming in, they have to build a school and a church.
Exactly.
Yep. Right.
Exactly.
We just said, come on.
Man down.
That's it. Come on.
I'm hearing some scribbling on the whiteboard.
We'll figure it out later.
Oh, yeah. Jesus.
What are we looking like? Can we turn the board back around and see what we're doing?
Do we want to see?
What's happening?
Oh, it's getting close.
Oh, God.
Oh.
All right, you guys. It's 9 o'clock. Harris is at 2:09, and Trump is at 2:30.
Oh, wait. Did they count California? Did they already give her California in that number? They already gave her California in that number?
But let me tell you where I feel personally this went wrong for Harris. I think, and people are going to disagree with me on that, and you have a right to. Again, don't email me, don't call me. But when
she got
California is Democratic, she was going to get that anyway. I believe when Obama came and he did a chastising to black men, I feel it is unfair to put the weight of someone else's election on the people. It is highly unfair, and I thought it was uncalled for. I remember specifically when they asked him about, and I'm not, talking bad about him. I think he was one of the better presidents for how he presented himself, not necessary policies. He had no scandal. He was a wonderful family man. He took care of his children. He was a great example of excellence in the White House. However, he was very clear did not want to be a black president. So then now how do you turn around when Kamala Harris is running and you're telling black men that they have a responsibility to vote her in? You're telling me that my vote doesn't matter? I can't vote for who I want to? Saying they should vote for Trump, that's their choice. But I thought chastising them was tone deaf, and I think she lost a lot of votes because of that.
I just feel like people are not ready for a female president, much less a female of color. However, I do hope she pulls it out, but it's been a battle.
Yeah.
And I think part of their strategy was to attempt to get this popular man, to speak to our demographic.
Sure.
I don't look up in their face. I didn't pay much attention to the conversation. However, Sting is not right when she's behind at this point.
Yeah, she's behind. Well,
What are you giving me?
it's getting better.
Yeah, much better than
Okay.
Getting better. She's closing the gap. Okay.
Hold on 1 second. We have a caller. Caller, can you hear us? And thank you for calling in.
Yeah, David, how are you?
Oh, well, hi, Dave. How are you doing? How are you joining so far? We know you are in the race. So go now. So how? Come on out. Everything going with you?
County Registry of Voters, and these are for the ballots that were received on or before the 1st of November, which I think was last Friday.
Okay.
To be the ballots that people filled out and mailed in, a week or two ago.
Fantastic.
And so the results are pretty consistent from race to race. With Light Up Schiff and Steve Garvey, we've got 3% Schiff, 36% Steve Garvey. With Chris and Tom Bowe, we've got 63% Chris, 36% Tom Bowe.
That's interesting.
And from mine, we got 63% Lauren Wilson and 36% Dave Ennis. So those are like straight party tickets because we're getting the same numbers over and over again.
Absolutely. And what we know is that every, I don't know, is it every 30 minutes or so up until a time we'll be getting new numbers because ballots, like I just turned in my ballot today. So, and we'll look to see how many more precincts. So we'll be watching that. And how are you doing? Are you calm, cool, and collected?
Well, I'm a little disappointed. I was hoping I'd do better than that.
Well, this isn't over, Dave. Get off the cliff. The race isn't over.
I understand. And so I'm looking at it, and I'm just saying, gee, that's interesting. That's 80,000 ballots out of a total of 310,000 ballots.
Yeah.
So we got ways left to go.
Yeah.
And we might be able to pull it up.
Yeah, absolutely. Well,
The debate we 2 weeks ago, yesterday, these ballots, a lot of them were already mailed in for them.
well, I tell you what, Dave, if you don't win, you go on us. All right. Well, listen. Stay tuned in with us. Call us periodically throughout the night so we can stay tuned and stay caught up on you.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Okay. I just try to keep the call to 2 minutes. So that's Dave Ennis. Dave is running against the incumbent, and that's okay. He said those numbers are up to November the 1st. So, listen, the night is young.
Absolutely.
And so, more ballots are going to be coming in. The night is young. Absolutely. So we're going to be taking a break shortly. No, I'm going to keep it. We're going to be taking a break shortly, and then we will get back with you guys. We're going to be switching out broadcasters? No? We're not, okay, so we are not switching out broadcasters, okay. But we're going to break anyway, you guys. Listen, this is the first election coverage. We will have many more of these to go. I am here with Donna Bishop and Mr. Vernon Williams, and we'll be back with you guys. 2 minutes. Are we taking our break now? Very well. Could you mute the YouTube, please?
Yeah.
Wait till
Such an excellent job.
Okay, because I had some questions, particularly.
So you don't want to wait till we mute the YouTube?
No,
No, go ahead. Mute it, please.
Talk to the.
It's up to
I just said all of that and didn't get no audio record.
You didn't even
This is my
expect
last
it.
session. I'm on more strike after this one.
All right, you guys. We are.
I'm saying you.
We are back, and
I'm
we're
on strike.
coming back with the caller. Oh, Jesus Christ.
Jesus.
But I want to thank, we have a studio audience. Thank you guys for being so involved. And thank you to Lakeisha for getting all of our data up on the board. She's doing the best she can. Jesus Christ. But we got a call coming through.
I'm ready for the switch.
Let me get the call coming through. I think we should be good now. Hello, caller. You are on live.
Hey, it's Ruth.
Hi, Ruth. How are you doing?
I'm good. Just called to check in and just give you kudos for what you're doing with the breakdown from the county.
Wonderful.
You're welcome.
I'm watching numbers, tracking my measure S.
Awesome.
Well, it looked pretty good from the $1 million, 3,000 and something.
What are the numbers on Measure S? That's for Suisun City. We're gonna be a little bit later.
73%.
Well, let me get my phone.
73%.
Oh, you got me. I'm out of it now.
Okay, Ruth.
$1 million with 3,000 and something. Yes.
Okay, that's excellent.
Pretty good for the first numbers that were put up.
And let me let everybody know Measure S, and we haven't gotten to it, so we'll discuss a little bit more. It's a measure for Suisun City that is desperately needed for Suisun. And when I tell you that Ruth was on the phone, if it was not for her, this city needs it. Doesn't matter if you want it or not, it's needed. And she really put forth a lot of and energy to get this to pass. So people like Ruth are one in a million, and we thank you for that.
Thank you for acknowledging, especially when you're just a resident that care about your city.
Absolutely important. So thank you so much, Ruth, and hang with us for the rest of the night. We'd love to hear you call in with us later.
Yeah, I'm gonna listen in. I got the county line up. I got the phone line up. I'm tuning in on everything. Thanks.
Well, thank you. Thank you. What? Okay, sorry.
Oh my.
Thank you so much, Ruth. We'll be talking to you soon.
Okay.
Listen, y'all were asking questions. I'm like, what? Okay, so let's go on over to Suisun. Can we hop over to Suisun? Lakeisha, could you turn the board around, please?
Absolutely.
Well, thank you. So we're going to look at the numbers in Suisun City Council. So I don't know how familiar, no, if you could do it straight, that'd be better. Very good. If I don't know how familiar you guys are with Suisun City Council, the folks that are running, but there's Marlon Olson. He's the current incumbent right now. And the Suisun City Council, welcome back, Power 88.fm. Thank you to those who are listening via the radio. We appreciate it. And thank you to those who are out in YouTube. Please call in. We had a slight issue with our telephone number, but we got up and going. 601-588-8836. That is 601-588-8836. So let's talk about Suisun City. So there's Marlon Olson, current city councilman. Amit Powell, who's a businessman, currently sits on city council. And Paris Shepard is new to, she's a new for city council, and I believe it's Thomas Kamen, I believe it is. So let's look at numbers. So Marlon Olson right now with the initial numbers is coming in at 17.05. Amit Powell came out the gate strong and hard, 36.48. And Paris Shepard at 27.78. And Thomas came in at 18.38.
How many seats are open?
Two.
Two.
And right now, Amit and Marlon are running for their seats for re-election. And listen, Suisun, a lot like Vallejo, it has.
Suisun is on its way to declaring bankruptcy.
It's if it doesn't get Measure S passed, it's going to have some struggle staying afloat. I mean, the brakes. So I know nobody likes to be taxed. Who want to be taxed? Who wants to pay extra taxes?
Well, we have a measure like that on the damn ballot every single election cycle.
Yeah, and I think part of the struggle is making sure that they're like with Measure E, that there's oversight, there's good oversight, and it doesn't go into the general fund. I think that's where, because I've been watching online, there's a lot of support for it, and there's a lot of people pleading for it, definitely for it to pass. but people are tired of being taxed.
Indeed.
They're like, you want these roles and these seats, get this shit together.
But I
Like,
mean,
run this city.
where's the fiscal responsibility? Like, who's going to ensure that that it's being fiscally managed properly?
Well, if I'm correct, the prior mayor left it with a $3 million deficit. So a city as small as Sassoon City that doesn't bring, listen, look at the waterfront. There's no retail down there. You got 800 restaurants down there.
Yeah.
But you don't even have that many miles in Sassoon City. So, like, what is the point of all of that? So if you left in a deficit, you are not bringing in revenue. You don't have, and they just got a new city manager who's I think is actually going to do some real stuff and do some real things. And you're not moving forward. How are you bringing money into the city? There's no new development in Sassoon City. Why? Probably because developers don't see a way. And every time I turn around, they're talking about in some more affordable housing, which ends up being low-income housing. But that's not a revenue. They're not paying taxes. So you're not bringing those streams into the city of Sassoon. That's necessary. And a lot of this city council is new. So they got to come in and clean up what was done from before and do it on a deficit. And so that deficit kept going farther and farther and farther. And so, hopefully with a new city manager, I personally think Amit Powell and Marlon Olson need to be able to finish. They've only been there a year and a half. They came in through the application process.
Oh, they need to be able to do some.
They got to do some work. And I'm like, you got new people running for office. So what you gonna do? What's your plan? I don't know anybody else's plan. What are you gonna do? Yeah. So it's absolutely, so Measure S needs to pass in Sassoon. Sassoon is just dire right now. I remember coming to Sassoon when they had the movies at the marina. And you'd sit there, bring your chairs, and they had jazz on Sundays. The last time I was there, there's a guy that wear gloves that had no shirt on and a shovel. Yeah.
It's a
I'm like,
thought he
not
worked
today,
in the
Satan.
graveyard.
Not today. I got back in my little Volvo and screeched off, okay? I'm like, it's yours, bro. You got it.
He wasn't gonna dig for
Ooh, it won't be me. All right.
Do we have any updated numbers on any of the other cities? No?
I don't think, it's 9:20,
It's
does it say
9:20.
when we're gonna have the next updates?
I can see.
Now let's talk about U.S. Because we're gonna come back down to, we have another city council, we have another race. Well, let's go ahead and knock this one out. Mayor of Dixon, Mayor Steve Burke. He's running against, it's James Ward.
Word. Is that Word?
Is it Word or Ward?
Ward.
He's the treasurer right now, correct? Okay. So Steve Burke right now 57.36 and James Ward is at 42.36. So if it's not broke, don't fix it. You have to have a reason to run for city council. Like, I have to know why you're getting in the race. What do you see that's not working? And if it's not working, what's your plan? People are just, Mayor Byrd is an excellent mayor. And I have seen the growth in Sassoon, not Sassoon, I apologize. In Dixon, I've seen the growth.
Dixon is growing.
It is growing.
Uh-huh.
And not only that, Mayor Byrd is out in the community with the people, not doing selfies. He's out in the community touching the residents of that city. So I don't know how James is going to beat him. I think he's a strong mayor and highly liked and respected. All right, let's get back to the U.S. Senate race. All right, so
Oh, those numbers look the same.
yeah, the numbers are the same. Do we have any updates yet for those numbers? Okay. So Harris at 210 and Trump at 230. So you were talking, Vernon, on the break about Harris and her being the district attorney in San Francisco. I want you to, with those out in YouTube land. I thought it was great points.
I just encourage people to just check her record and how did she get to this point? And realistically, we live in the Bay Area. San Francisco is the tip of the spear as it relates to Bay Area politics, California politics for that. And when Kamala first, she came out of Alameda County as an assistant district attorney, and then she got the job at San Francisco as the district attorney. Under her leadership and her rulership, the number of African American, or I'll just say the number of men of color who were convicted of offenses at a higher rate, at a more severe rate, is astronomical.
Mm-hmm.
That's when our prison population went through the roof.
Mm-hmm.
So we were talking on the break. If you want a family, you remove the father from the family. That you're taking the thread out of the seams of the fabric.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're doing that based upon, we can go all the way in this, but if you're doing it based upon how you're charging men of color for drug offenses, when you're a part of the machine that launched the war on drugs, and now you are creating these extreme sentences for those individuals who are deeply impacted by that war, how are you then going to come back to these same communities that you have ravaged 20 years ago and say, I'm the one that you need to vote for? Like, you want me to forget that caught for 20 rocks of crack cocaine back in the days got me 3 years? When you want me to forget about that when I really have, and I could have used some rehabilitation or could have used a different measure of intervention, but your reaction, your response, your law, your way was create them and incarcerate them in drastic numbers. Now we talk about who fuels the privatization of the prison industry. Well, it's those making those laws who are enforcing those sentences on these individuals upon these crimes. So we talking about her. We talking about 75% of the population, inmate population, are men of. So most of those are as a result of drug offenses. Who's setting those sentencing guidelines? Who's setting that up? It's the district attorney, it's the state attorney general, it's those sitting in those seats. So now we want to base it off of identity politics because skin tone is in the similar pigmentation of ours, and totally alleviate and forget about what the impact of the families of color based upon her ways of legislation, her ways of sense.
Amen. Here's your mic. I just let you drop it.
I agree, and I just want to add a little bit to that, because Tamuri in a place called Richmond. Many people don't know Richmond, California. But is Vallejo, is Sacramento, is Oakland. And so I'm going to go a place and then I'm going to come back. I was at an educational conference in San Diego, and the place was filled with, everybody was white. Everybody, all white men. I thought, what is going on here? It was a conference. It was a conference about the legalization of marijuana and how to get into the business. And I couldn't help but think about all the brothers from Richmond who had gone to jail for not crack offenses,
for some weed.
Marijuana offenses.
That's
and I thought, now it's going to be legal, and we can't even get our foot in the door. This conference was the entire hotel. And so, we think about not only what you're saying, Vernon, with regard to crack and even, some of the so-called more major drugs, but let's just talk about marijuana. It's legal. They thought they were going to make more money, but Pookie and Ray Ray are still out
on the
there.
corner. Oh yeah, it's still a black market.
Folks are like, whatever. I'm not going
Right.
I'm going to Pookie and Ray Ray, who I've been going to for all this stuff.
That's a fact too.
Are they getting arrested though if they're out on the corner selling? No, because
I
it's
haven't
legal.
heard anything.
No, I mean it's a misdemeanor, right? Because cannabis is legal in California, so
They need to pay taxes on it.
you got to pay the taxes on it to the system. You got to pay the taxes, right? So, and it's a whole system that they built around the legalization of it too. You got to have certain permits, you have certain licenses, you got to be cleared through certain municipalities. Just certain obstacles. It's only a few black cannabis dispensaries in Northern California, and we are the home base of cannabis in the world is Northern California. It ain't many black and brown cannabis bars are actually operating at the capacity that some of these institutions like Dr. Bishop is referring to, where it's a money machine, man. That just when we just talk from that perspective and you look at someone's track record and what has been their direct impact in the communities that they have had leadership and influence over. That speaks for itself to me. So you can't get in front of these TV and now talk a different game to the same community that you had a tremendous contribution to dismantling.
Right.
I just can't, I just, you know.
But I also think that there is no expectation that black men, just talking about black men, are going to do an overage of a run for Kamala. The expectation is black women are going to do what we've been doing since the history of mankind, what we did for Biden, well, I didn't do, but what was done for Biden when he was, forgetting on his campaign and losing thought, and then the South brought him back into reality. That's what's been happening. I think what's been going on is there's been this huge push and this huge drive to really focus on black women.
Yeah.
This could be you, girl. No,
Yeah.
it couldn't.
Right.
And where people have to look at it, where the policies are, where's been this connection before? I was disappointed with her when I saw Megan Thee Stallion twerking on the stage, because I don't associate with women that, and I'm not, nothing negative to Megan Thee Stallion, but she's a young girl that reads to a certain demographics, and if you have not been immersed in the black community, I don't know enough about Kamala to speak to her, but that isn't how you reach me, a 50-year-old black woman who's educated, whose kids are in college, and who self-employed. You're not gonna get on there with her twerking, and that's not gonna appeal to me. So either you're tone deaf about your culture, you're not connected with your culture, or there's some real bad people on her team.
No,
But I
think
thought,
that's true because she's going after a certain untapped voter demographic.
sure,
Right? She's trying to tap into that untapped voter pool. If anyone can tap into that voter age 18 to 30, you can get at their game and get them to actually vote. You can change the direction of any.
that's
the
what
outcome
Obama
of
did.
any-
What he did.
That's what he
That's
did.
what he did.
That's exactly what he did. But he went out of the different.
Yeah.
Right? I voted for Obama. Shit, both times.
Oh yeah.
The first time I was
absolutely.
happy to go cast my vote
Yeah.
for what I thought was going to be a savior, but the system's not going to allow
Right.
that.
I don't agree with that.
It's not gonna allow
Listen,
it.
I remember when Bush was getting ready to go into that war, and what was it, the United Nations said nope, and he was like, guess what we about to do? And he went right into it. I believe you do what you want to do when it's important enough. He came in saying he was not for the legalization of gay marriages.
Yeah.
He was against that, all up in Hollywood, and all of a sudden, everybody can get married, everybody can do this. So you do what you want to do when you want to do it. The problem is, as people, we're so busy fighting each other that we don't even know what to do with the system. We so busy being caught up underneath it and attacking each other. There's no process for how to win in the system.
A system is going to accomplish what it was designed to accomplish.
And you feel
When
that's
you
to
jump
incarcerate.
into damn right. America, we're not going to say America was founded on slavery because I believe the people of color were here before Christopher Columbus ever even discovered North America. So I won't say it was founded
Well,
on
he
slavery.
did. It was a Lexus that was already here. He went to the Lexus and said,
I'm a rib cage. You finna get one, right?
all right, go ahead.
Commercial break. Commercial break. We need a commercial break. Commercial break. But America, as we know it today, was hit on the backs of slaves, and not only African slaves. You got Japanese slaves, Chinese slaves, slaves of various different pigments. But it was founded on the backs of slaves. It still exists in this way. Just because they emancipated slaves doesn't mean that we became free. They just shifted some language in the Constitution that a man can remain free unless he is convicted of such and such, so on and
Because
so
then
forth.
became Jim Crow, and Jim Crow did a different form of slavery right after that.
And so and now it became a legalized system, right? Which is today's. You know, California leads America in incarceration numbers, and America leads the world in incarceration numbers. I'm gonna say that, so that tells you that slavery, going back into Proposition 3, 6, that term, that has been a part of America's fabric as far as we know it. So it's the same pig, just a different package.
Sure. I agree with you. I mean, there's some things that I have a question mark about, but we have a break coming up, and so I want to make sure that we have our break. I want to talk about also Trump. I think there are some serious concerns that we should have there too. I think we need to delve into that. So we're going to take a brief little break, and then we are going to come back shortly. Engineer, are we breaking now? Okay. Please don't forget to mute us, please. We'll be back in minutes, everyone.
Do we got some new scores, some new numbers?
I changed the, they didn't.
Special election coverage. We are going over special election coverage. I have my wonderful co-host with me tonight. It is Dr. Ramona Bishop and Vernon Williams, and we're getting into it. We're getting into the conversation of the local city elections. We are going over the numbers as well. We want to hear from you guys. We are having too much fun talking about it, breaking it down. Call in. Our call-in number is 601-588-8836. It's 601-588-8836. Call in. We had it on screen. It had brown tape. Ramona made us take it down. So let's talk about Trump a little bit. We talked about Harris. I think there were some great concerns. Bernie brought out some wonderful points about her participation in over-incarcerating. So let's talk about the concerns that people are having about Trump. His messaging. His messaging is horrible. Not having a real plan for, I don't know anything he plans to do besides get back at people who don't like him. Now I'm a girl I'm a fan of revenge. Don't get me twisted. Revenge is a friend of mine. But I think you have to keep it in perspective. And I don't hear any policies. We know he doesn't like immigrants. I don't hear what he's going to do to change the economy. It's a lot of rhetoric, a lot of unnecessary rhetoric. I don't know a lot of what she's going to do.
Right.
That's a good point.
But I know even less of what he's doing. And I got concerns for that. As somebody, I'm a conservative independent, so I tend to look the middle of the road. I'm not happy with either of them to be presidential candidate. Supporter of Robert F. Kennedy Jr. And unfortunately, he decided to suspend his campaign. But if Trump wins, what are we looking at? Are we looking at more economic development for small business? Are we looking for rich people getting more tax? Are we looking at, they were so firmly against paying off student loans. I don't care if you get your student loans paid off, so what? You know, where's the plan for the American people? I don't want a businessman that can't see family. I don't want a businessman that has no empathy. I don't want a president that doesn't realize that we are all pumping blood. I don't see that in him.
I had to answer from a 7th grader today. We actually did an election where we did a mock election for President Trump from kindergarten all the way to 12th grade.
Nice.
And so all the students were required to look up both candidates. And a 7th grader walked up to me and said after his research, Dr. Bishop, is Trump a misogynist? I said, what I want you to do is go look up X, Y, and Z. So
Right.
I just had them keep doing their inquiry. I think that with both candidates, we've been very concerned about personality, background, and we still don't know with either what the real plan is. And that has been my biggest concern.
Yeah.
Now, then there was Project 2025, and you know, he divorced himself from that, but I'm not sure that he can really divorce himself from that. So was that the plan? Is that the plan? So we should be very concerned.
Yeah, I agree. I've never focused on him so much being racist and giving him that title. I think he's definitely a classist. I think your value to him based only from what we've seen. I mean, you give people the image and people take the image and make their own assertion to it. And so that's what I've done. He seems to be very classist. He loves rich people. I don't think he has an understanding of what poor people go through because he don't know nothing about it. Doesn't know nothing about working class, middle class. He doesn't know anything about those things. And so it's just a concern for me. I'm concerned how his rhetoric, because during his presidential run, he upped rhetoric and it became nastier with race. People were emboldened to call you the N-word. I mean, not me, but I've seen and we've heard it. People have been emboldened to be racist towards you because they felt like they were given permission. This isn't something we're making up. This is millions of people around the world that are saying that his presidency emboldened people to come out and to behave in a manner that was racist towards other individuals. And I've seen it firsthand.
Yeah.
So I'm concerned about that as well.
I agree with you 100%. I think that, you know, and I am a conservative. And so conservative in my morals, conservative in my beliefs. If we get one more ghost call on this 601-588-8836.
Call us now.
No, don't call again. Okay? We don't even want to talk to you because you can't get through. Anyway. I think, you know, I think first of all, he's polished, but he's not polished in terms of conveying a message, right? He's so one of them, I'm a billionaire or whatever he is. In that realm of life, this is we do as a privileged white man, we're gonna do what we want to do, how we want to do it. And that has translated over into politics, which is the proper field for that mentality.
Correct.
That mentality is more applicable to business, right?
Yeah.
To developing, to cutthroat, to
Yeah.
shark eat shark, whale eat whale, big fish in the big ocean. Well, you're trying to translate that over into politics. You have to be politically correct, or you have to appeal to the masses. It just doesn't translate over. He has the same mentality in the big ocean of developing New York City or developing globally that he does. And you just can't, you know, when you're the developer and you're a billionaire, you having these parties, you can walk up to a female and feel that she's disposable, but you can't come and say that in politics because
Right.
it don't translate over, even
Yeah.
though it just doesn't. So as it relates to his messaging, terrible.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes the pigment on his neck get redder than that red cup over there, and that appeals when you talk about identity politics. It appeals to some of them redneck folks that thinks that they have something that they can identify with, that then gives them permission to act a certain way. But that way was within them before Trump became the president.
Agreed.
Okay, because back in the day, you was black. If you were into entertainment, if you were into politics, the one businessman that you was trying to get next to was Donald Trump.
You're right. You're right.
Bill Clinton, Hillary Clinton, you name them all. Oprah, all of them. You're trying to get next to who?
Yeah.
The business mogul.
That's right.
Because he's a factor in his realm. So the fact, I do like the idea that he's been in business and he can take that by looking at what did he produce under leadership in terms of our economic state, in terms of our economy. Our economy was thriving for a very short period of time. There was an experience of having lower interest for a very short period of time. Now, in every market, it has to correct itself. So what goes down has to come up, what goes up has to come down. That's a part of market corrections. But as it relates to jobs that were coming back into the United States, as related to the strength in our economy, as it related to inflation percentages, as it related to those economic factors, we were thriving more than we are now and much more than we were before him. That's a statistical, that's just a fact. But his messaging is terrible, and the way that he carries himself, he's one of them, like, if you ever been in New York or hang out with New Yorkers is like, I'm just a New Yorker, yo, and that's just what their edge is a lot more jagged than someone who would use some finesse to communicate. They just want to say how they feel, and if you don't like it, it is what it is. It's New York, and that's his mentality. I think he's taken that mentality into politics, and it just don't fit.
It doesn't
fit,
and it's a turnoff.
It's terrible.
You know, one of the things that I think we definitely need here in California, we need a little bit more conservatism. And the reason is because California liberal, look at our homeless crisis. I think it was a couple of months ago that they said that we've spent $24 billion on this homeless crisis, and they don't have any accountability. We don't know where the money went. So how do you not know where the money went? And overrun by homeless. Solano County has more than its share of homeless, and I don't even want to think about but San Francisco, oh my God. And so this is to me, a direct reflection of loose policies, anything goes, and instead of treating drug addiction and mental illness as something serious, we're just now coming around to it being something serious, allowing people to have encampments and live on the streets. We need more fiscal responsibility. It's obvious we've not been able to do it, cannot do it, and the top of us already being, I think we're in I don't even want to state the number, but I heard it was almost $1 trillion deficit here in California. We're passing out more money. So then we're illegal immigrants money for houses. Astonishing. But we couldn't find anything for reparations. And I'm not saying, listen, I'm not a proponent for reparations. I'm not against it. I have my own thought process about it. We are not moving California forward. It's way too Democrat-induced. It needs to come more so in the middle, because we're one of the meccas of finances here in this country. Look at how we're functioning. If California looks like this, I haven't been to New York recently. I can only imagine you walking over homeless people as soon as you get off the subway.
I mean, you ain't got to go further than Vallejo.
Facts.
Right?
Yeah.
It just feels to me like, I was back to what you were saying, Tamuri, about black women kind of leading and making sure that people get elected. And I was thinking, what have we gotten in return for that?
That's a good point.
Nothing.
That's a good point.
It's a debt. We always owe a debt. And let me tell you, I've gotten some pushback because I didn't jump on that bandwagon. I'm going to support the person who can do the job, who has a strategic plan for the job, who is most capable, competent. I don't care if you're a green Martian. I'm not voting for you because you're a woman. I'm not voting for you because you're black. I'm not voting for you because you're very good. I'm not doing that. That has not been a benefit to us. It's not even benefited us to solely vote black.
Right.
Because they get in positions and all of a sudden, me no speak English no more,
Yeah,
or they become overly dynamic, or it has not benefited us. We have to change how all of us, how we're doing politics, but most importantly, people of color, because in every line, we are the lowest of the totem pole. We cannot seem to get, and part of that is being a part of a party keeps you in subjugation, in my opinion. In my opinion. But not that being beholden to a color initiative when we really don't even have that kind of unity in our community.
I was having a conversation with my friends, and
You got a friend?
I got a few friends, contrary to what you believe, you're popular.
No.
And he was like, bro, look at all of the major metropolitan cities that are Democratic led.
Mm-hmm.
Look at their graduation rates in the public school systems. It's terrible. Look at the condition streets and roads. Look at their crime statistics. Okay, look at their homeless populations in comparison to cities that are governed by conservative leadership. I could take Vacaville and I take Vallejo. Two same cities, or cities in the same county with different approaches in terms of thought to leadership and economic development and where their resources are allocated. You can see the stark differences in the two. So then the question then becomes, if we have been, I don't want to go, but if we have been apart, black folk did not shift over to the Democratic Party until the early 1960s, when we started to talk about the right to vote, that and the civil rights. That's when it happened. But there was a whole play that was associated with that, because we still don't damn vote, and we still don't have the rights that we proclaim that we think that we have, that they gave us back then. So the question becomes, what have we as a community of color gotten from being a part of that movement?
That's a great question.
Show me a major metropolitan city that has democratic leadership, whose economy is thriving, whose public systems graduation rate is over 70%. Okay,
Right.
Whose public safety? Show me. One.
Yeah. But when you're comfortable with losing, and you're comfortable where they put you,
It's a power in the pause. Can you show me one?
well then that pause was long. They're going with it now.
So then, what have we gotten as? What has been the return on investment for our vote?
I agree with you, actually.
What's the return on investment?
I was waiting for another pause. I didn't want to say nothing.
She is close.
No, you're 100% right. As much as I would love to refute you, I can't.
And it goes back to what have we got our support.
Exactly.
But here's the thing. We can't go to the Republican Party because the Republican Party is very misogynistic. And not only is it very misogynistic, it's a party that doesn't. You put Herschel Walker as your representation for a Negro in America. Shame on you.
Agree with that.
That is the vision for black. Putting anything up. And so if you don't see us, then you don't see us, and then we can't be a part of something. So we'll be a part of it, but I've noticed Tim Scott's and the other gentleman, Donald, whatever his name is, they'll join the party, but then start hating and being a bigot towards black. You can't be a conservative and be a Republican and not hate your own kind. There's no balance there. It's either I have to join the Republican Party, this is what I've seen, and I have to denounce anything that has to do with blackness. That's what they're showing. Or I have to I have to wear a dashiki and an afro and a pick in my hair over in the Democratic. So where do you go? I'm independent. And we need a better independent movement. But where do you go? One doesn't see you, and one wants to keep you in servitude that we don't even see. They just went to another form of. Now, people have been voting Democrat for years, and we have still not made it up that hill that Weezy was talking about.
That's a good point. That's a good point. That's a good point. I think that the Republican Party did a real disservice to the African American base that they have had at a certain point. Because at a certain point, most of us in the black community, we were conservative. Okay, that's a fact. You can take it all the way back to Frederick Douglass if you want. We have been very conservative in our morals, in our values, in our beliefs, in our structures, in our cultures. We're very conservative historically. It is not till recent history where that shifted, when they thought they gave us the right to vote, until if you become a felon, you can't vote, and you just don't even get me on that.
Sure.
But the making is, I think that they have lost, I think they've lost some identity as it relates to the connectivity with the African American family. I really do. And now that the African American family is on the Democratic plantation, majority of us, I'm just gonna call it what it is.
Yeah, that's right.
What have we gotten what has been our return on investment? Because us as people of color have the power and the ability to dictate what happens in this country, to dictate what happens in the county, in the state, city that you live in, if we had the ability to come together like some other communities who block vote,
Sure.
and actually begin to use that momentum, use that power, use that synergy and that unification to actually create some change. But we too busy like the crab in the bucket.
Absolutely.
We're too busy trying to stomp on each other. You know what I mean? And so ultimately, it seems like it's two wings to the same damn chicken. Like really,
That was
if it wasn't a political conversation, I wouldn't be left or right or in the middle.
Yeah.
I would exist, right? And be who God created me to be in my authentic space. Because if it's up to me, marriage is between man and woman. I don't give a damn how you feel. I don't care what legislation says. I'm just gonna stick to
right.
So now I'm starting to trip over myself because I don't want to say the wrong thing fast. But if it wasn't for the political piece, it would just be about existing and operating in the word of God, if you ask me. But
Absolutely. No, I 100%.
You come on over here. What's his name?
Larry.
In the audience. Larry, this seat is warmed up for you, brother.
I'm good.
My throat is tired.
Well, shut up. So let's look at I think, do we have more local races that we need to look at? Are we still okay? Because we've already done our
Is it still 230 to 210?
No, 246.
240
okay, the numbers have changed on Harris and
Jesus.
Trump.
to whoever
It's gonna be bad either which way it goes.
Yeah. I voted for Snoopy.
If Trump win, the Bay Area gonna get tore up.
Why? You know what? Let
Did
me
you
tell
see they built they boarding up the buildings and
Well,
stuff all over the Bay?
I was reading in the newspaper today that they were preparing. Why would we have? I don't understand why we would have that. Why would we?
They're gonna be
Because
mad.
people are gonna be afraid and mad.
Because they don't want.
They don't.
They want her.
They don't want
Well,
another
she from
Trump
the Bay.
presidency.
She from the Bay Area.
We know what it was. We know what the Trump presidency
So
was.
she's still at 210,
Yes.
Yeah.
and he's at 240.
At McDonald beats, he only got one.
247.
Who got Pennsylvania? Is that
I think it's still ongoing.
They didn't, they couldn't disclose,
it's too
Yeah.
close to call?
yes, thank you.
Okay.
What about
I mean, we'll collect
they
the
already
ballots.
did Georgia?
Georgia.
Him.
So you guys, it is about 10 o'clock. I'm sure some of you guys are checking the numbers, like we the numbers.
Georgia?
That's what I
Yes.
said.
It did,
Damn.
but keep in mind, see, this is what happened. You got people
We're
who
good
don't stand
with
on.
Trump.
Remember, the Democrats barely got Georgia last time because of Warnock, and it was Warnock and Herschel that was running against each other.
Georgia, rural areas too.
Yeah,
Even though Atlanta is
but the
all black.
Dems had it last time.
Cause that lady worked at, worked Georgia.
Who, Stacey Abrams.
Abrams.
Where's she at? She's in Georgia.
She can't know.
She
She
did it
get
for them,
caught in
everybody
scandal. Was she in
herself.
a scandal or
She
something?
did it for everybody herself. She got everybody elected.
You know what?
Wasn't she wasn't no.
I
She
don't
was
hear
pushing
about
a,
I
she
don't
was pushing a hard line out there though. They pushing a hard line
yeah.
out there.
A hard line of what? To get him elected?
To get people elected.
Yeah, no,
She was getting him registered because she works with a nonprofit now.
She not in politics no more?
She wasn't ever in politics.
No.
She ran twice, wasn't ever in politics.
But
Politics
she
should
could
be
get
in
everybody else
Political
elected for
influence, no?
herself.
Oh, did she?
I thought she did. I got some family in Atlanta. They was like really.
Okay, we're still on. I have no idea what you're doing. We are still on
I'm
camera.
stretching my legs. You see these skinny jeans?
Well, you better take them off and then I told you to take your legs off. Take your legs off. Takes
your
your
legs
leg. How many minutes do we have till break?
I thought, right.
When you don't listen, and let me apologize for whatever you see that offends you. Whatever.
Hey, this is raw and uncut.
Clearly.
It's super authentic.
We're taking a break in a minute, you guys. We're only going to 11 o'clock. This has been the best
Only
fun.
to 11.
Yes.
Dr. B, you still got to drive
I-
home?
I do.
To home?
Home.
Do you realize we live miles from here?
I don't know why. Folks.
I'm gonna send you a
But
damn
you do
voice.
not live that far.
I'm gonna send you a damn.
Please do. So yes, you guys, remember, we still have prizes, you guys. I know we had some issues with the phone, so 601-8836, 601-588-8836, and let us know what you think. Let us know if we're on the same page with you. Great conversation. I got a text message that burning and had fire flames on it. You know, folks do agree with what you're saying, and we could
I have
definitely
a
appreciate
question.
that. And
Kamala Harris wins tonight.
is that?
Of course, it's gonna be a lot of people that are gonna be filled with excitement. It's gonna be some people who are
We're
gonna
gonna-
be
Poverty!
disappointed.
Okay.
What does she do in her first 100 days?
I don't know what any of her policies are. I couldn't tell you. I don't know. What did she say?
In the first 100 days?
I don't know what she said. I don't know her or Trump's. Trump
That's
is.
gonna be my next question. On the
Right.
flip side, like,
I
okay,
don't
so
know.
say Trump win tonight,
He said
and he's
he's
president tomorrow. What is he gonna do in his first 100 days?
I have no idea
What
what
would
she's
you
doing.
like to see her do first 100 days?
She's not gonna do it.
I didn't ask you that. Dr.
Close the
Bishop,
board.
because she's been talking a lot.
That's a big question.
I'm supposed to.
Is it close to board?
Oh.
She's not gonna do that.
I don't know that would be my statement. I don't know.
You don't know what she can
There's
do?
so much to
There's
do.
so much.
I mean,
in
and
our-
our issues are so unique in California. So
They are.
it's hard for us to say a blanket issue that will affect the whole nation.
Absolutely.
True, too.
Gas prices, for example.
No, I got some specifics that need to be done here in California. Talk about the
But
United
she can't
States.
focus on
Just
the
California.
Republic of California. She's got to
Right.
focus on the
Well,
50
we're having the same problem everyone around the world is having.
she doing her first 100
When we come back from our break, I will let you guys know what I think she should do. Engineer, we're going towards a break?
Because you could be answering the question.
No, I'm gonna respect the engineer. I'm not gonna stretch it in the middle of the whole
I
program.
didn't know we was on in live.
All right, everybody, we are back. Thank you so much for listening to us out there in Radio Land, and thank you so much on YouTube. This has been a wonderful. So, as you see, I lost the wonderful Dr. Ramona Bishop. We're going to 11 o'clock at night, and of course, Vernon. So we have the wonderful Jenny Callison here. I'm going to let her introduce herself, and so she's going to be subbing in. Jenny, introduce yourself to everyone out there in YouTube land.
Hi, I'm Callison. I am a mom of two. I'm a California native. I was in the Army for 4 years. Started working in the legislature in 2011. Also got a little taste of politics when I ran for state assembly of Assembly District 11 back in 2022. So I was an adventure, and that led me to meet beautiful Tamuri that I'm sitting next to. So happy to be here. It's been a fun day. I've been listening on the radio.
Yes.
And yeah, I'm just happy to see what's going on and what's going on in the district.
Awesome. Okay, so everybody already knows 601-588-8836. 601-588-8836. Call in definitely. We have prizes as well, so we're looking to get callers in. Have to connect our phone line here just in case. There we go. So tell me, you've been listening from kind of outside. So okay. It's just taking a while. It has no reason it should be taking this long. So tell us anything that you agreed with or didn't agree with so far?
Yeah, at one point I remember Vernon was talking and I just texted you the fire emojis a few times because he was talking about Kamala Harris as San Francisco district attorney and habit of locking up young black men for drug offenses that were very minor. And then again, when they talked about our agency about cannabis and the barriers that are in place and the convention that only, certain demographics were at, it was like, that's all something I agree with. I think that her record is terrible and that shows. And California politics in general are broken. Like the legalization of cannabis was from a proposition, which we have 10 on the ballot tonight, propositions that are worded in ways that are very clear to voters, and they are drafted by special interests. So when cannabis was legalized, it was legalized with all these barriers in place, and then the California Regulatory Agency on top of that made it even harder to get into the industry. Sacramento purposefully put in a minority cannabis business owners program and marketed it to young minority business owners, and they failed to get any one business owner part of that program, I think, for over 2 years.
Yeah.
I think they finally got the first one a few months ago. So there are problems, and I don't know exactly what the answers are, but I don't think more government and more taxes are the answer.
I agree, but the current government that we have now does a great job of screening independence, but there is no independence. Smoke screening that you can do it, you really can't do it. Smoke screening that we're here to help you, but we really don't help you. And people have to see beyond what they see beyond. Let's talk about the presidential election here as far as the numbers. Trump is at 247, Harris is at 2. I knew it would be a close race. I really did. I knew it was going to be because there were so many different things. But I'm excited. I'm not excited about the presidential race. I'm going to be very honest to you guys. I've made it very clear the local races is where it's at. As Vernon explained before, those are the things that affect our day-to-day. I care about the things that's going to make sure I can continue taking care of my family. The policies from the presidential election may never even trickle down to us. We can see them with the deviance of a couple of them, so I can't hang my hat on that. But I am concerned about who our senator is, who our state assembly is, who our congressional people are. I'm excited to find out about the U.S. Senate. I like Steve Garvey. I found him to be a very middle-of-the-road candidate. I think Adam is more of the same. I think what happens is they max out of one seat and then they go towards another seat, and then they max out of that seat and they go to another seat, and then they max out of that. And then, okay, come on. Like, when do you retire and let new energy come in? And I'm just not finding that. So I'm excited about Garvey, really.
Yes, I feel about Garvey.
Yeah.
I wish his numbers were better, but it is still early.
Very early, yeah. And we know the U.S. Senate and the presidential race will go for weeks. So that I think by today and tomorrow, we will have a really good idea. I don't know, right? But we should have a really good idea of the local races, definitely where they're going and where those numbers are going to be. What do you think about some of the Proposition 3? We talked about that in length here. That's where the state constitution, they change the, whatever the group it is, or individual it is that wants to change the in the state constitution from man and woman to, I don't know, whatever it is, it's very vague. What do you think about that?
I agree with you that it is vague, and because of that, and because it is drafted in this day and age and supported by groups that I don't necessarily like or
Sure.
trust.
Sure.
I have a huge trust issue, so I voted no on Prop 3
Mm-hmm.
because of that. Yeah, I just don't trust it.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'd rather wait and see what happens. So far, it hasn't been an issue for anyone.
Sure.
In the absence of a problem, why create a solution?
I agree with that. Now, I voted no on it as well, but I voted no on it because, it was vague. It didn't give me definitive. And I want to know, if you want to change the state constitution from man and woman, you should say what it is. People have had some outlandish, it's somebody could marry a kid or somebody could marry. You need to tell me specifically what it is. I do understand if you are a man married to a man that you might want to see yourself in the Constitution. Things have to be changed over a period of time. I don't know if that's it. I don't know if it is. But I can definitely understand the need for that some people may want to. What about Proposition 6? That's the one with the individuals being forced in prison to work pennies on the dollar. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I did get to hear that conversation. I think it is a complex issue, and I did like to hear perspectives on this. I also want to compliment you on your whiteboard that you have with
Right?
all the updated numbers. I
And the
love it
beautiful
so much.
Lakeisha, who is working on us, thank you. We appreciate her.
Our own Vanna.
Our Vanna Black, actually. Vanna Black.
I like that.
That is great. That is good. So yeah, Proposition 6, because of who's supporting it, I am very suspicious of Proposition 6. So yeah, I would just take that one for who's authoring it. Why are they authoring it? Why did they word it that way? And what does it do? I did hear some conversation that I agree with. You need more rehabilitation for our prisoners, but at the same time, to another degree, we need more punishments for our criminals in California. I know if that means more prisoners, but to go back to Kamala Harris, as Attorney General of California, she took the federal mandated that our state prisons were overcrowded by 125% to fix it. So as Attorney General, her solution to that was to say, county jails, you take on this burden. And I will build no more state prisons. I will actually actively work to close down state prisons. I will do nothing to then solve the crime in this state or to punish prisoners. And I'm not, again, saying more prisoners, but I will say the benefit to jail, which we don't have right now because the county jails took on this burden of is I had a neighbor who was an alcoholic. And his two roommates were tweakers, so that was very fun to live next to in downtown Sacramento. But every once in a while they would get locked up, and they would come back after a month or so from jail where they were sober and clean, and they were nice, and they would be presentable, and they would try to look for jobs and try to get their life in order. And for a few months, they had that reset. And yeah, that's not 99% effective, but it's something that we don't have anymore, and that's largely due Kamala Harris's policies.
Well, I think that more of a conservative stance is always to want more law enforcement. It's okay to not be inundated with law enforcement. This is how law enforcement is getting sued, and we're having a hard time finding, because the answer to everything is not police, right? The police are, and you get some who are really great and wonderful, and I know a lot of great, wonderful ones, but you also get some ones that are challenged. My concern is always that, we can blame Kamala for some of this, but we also have to blame a system that she didn't create laws. She didn't go out and make these laws. These are laws that she's following. Now, could she have been less heavy-handed? She might have been. But you also have the perpetrator who's perpetrating the act. So, too, that where I think a lot of people felt that she went wrong is because they felt that she owed a debt to black and brown people. Why? Because she's presumably black. I mean, she is black. But is that why? Does she owe because she's black? I'm not sitting here anymore, so we're not going to listen to you. Does she owe them something because of that? I want to call security. And so that's one of my questions that I have. But I also want to state is that remember the crack epidemic in the 80s. We're now looking at an opioid epidemic. Why? Because it's white middle class kids that are overdosing on fentanyl and all these opioid drugs and these prescription medications because we didn't care when black people was killing themselves off of crack. It wasn't a problem. So we have a systemic problem in this country, and what's happening is laws have been made premised with racism in them and bias. And so I'm not saying she should have maybe not had a little bit more empathy, but she didn't create these. And the people are doing what they do. You think the people out there selling dope are keeping their families, or their families are elevating, they're taking care of their families and all? No, they're not. They're surviving. And so I'm not going to put a martyr badge on anyone. I think she was doing a job. Could she have done some things? Let me tell you what I liked. I liked when she was going after the parents for their truant kids. Now, you don't know where the hell your kids don't know where they at, but I know they shouldn't be over there. You are responsible. I loved it.
What was her purpose for going after the parents?
Well, holding the parents responsible. Parents are legally responsible for their kids to the age of 18. And to me, we don't hold parents accountable enough. That's why we've got teachers who now can talk to your kids about transitioning, and we don't have to tell you. We're trying to remove, and we need to put parents back in. This is the spawn you had and raised.
So her main reason for wanting kids in school is that every head in is money. So she was worried about.
I don't know if that's
money.
her reasoning, but I agree.
She was in a press statement saying that it was the money. She said the state can't handle this deficit.
Well, I know each kid represents me in the school. I'm familiar with that.
Yeah.
I personally don't know if that's her reason behind it, but I thought it was a good policy. I think that parents are responsible. I knew where my kids were every second of the day. And it's your responsibility. Why do you think we have gangs? Why do you think we have kids joining gangs at 12 and 14? Why? Nah, you move. So because of that, this is what we have now. So everything is, translated into something, and I agree she could have done better. I just don't know how she specifically can be blamed for all of that. So, but we have another break coming up. Engineer, is that correct? Mm-hmm. Okay, very good. Also, I got a chance to meet Garvey a couple of weeks ago, the Solano County Central Committee. Nope.
Did he sign an autograph for you?
No, we had a great conversation. We took a picture. I was very impressed with him. I got to tell you, I vote all over the board when I vote. So I don't vote down any party line because, I'm an independent. But I was very impressed with him and what he wants to do and how he really had a vision for everyone. And I just was very impressed. Adam Schiff, and I haven't met him, so I want to be very fair to him, more of the same. Mm-hmm. And the same isn't working.
Yeah.
But I don't want to be too hard on the Democrats because the Republicans, it's politics.
I'm hoping that the Republican Party's changing. I think that the enveloping of RFK Jr., Gabbard, all of these alternative thinkers who aren't just stuck in the same old, look at who's retiring right now, Mitch McConnell. That is old Republican.
He's still alive?
Oh, you're so funny.
No, I didn't know. Oh my God.
No, I have to Google it. I think he is.
Oh,
so,
okay.
I think he's planning to unclench his hands from the grips of power that he. But there is an old guard and a new guard, and I'm not a Republican, just for anyone who's watching. But I
would know.
Also an independent, but yeah, I did vote Republican because I'm in California, and it is a balance of power right now.
Yeah. Yeah, and I was saying earlier, we need more balance here, more conservatism, so when we get back, you guys, we are going to talk about, we're gonna take our last breaks for the night, we are ending at 11 o'clock. We're gonna go out over the last numbers up until 11 p.m. and share everyone, so this has been just a wonderful night. I'm so glad Jenny came, so
Thank
much
you
fun
for
with
inviting
Vernon
me.
and Ramona and just going over the information. So, engineer, are we taking a break now? Thank you so much, and we'll be muted, and we will be back. Don't forget, 601-588-8836. People are going to bed for the next day, but we're gonna still keep those phone lines open, and we have prizes. So 601-588-8836, and we'll. No.
Oh, I'm about to chew you up.
Oh.
Prove to me
A Global Vibe. I'm here with my co-host, Jenny Callison.
Hello.
So let's talk about some of the local elections, you guys. We're updating on the numbers. So we're gonna go back over to the Vallejo mayor race. The race is between Pip and Dew and Andrea Source, so we won't waste time with the others. Dew is 38.56, see you later. And Source is 8.36. I mean, they're right on each other's heels. Let's see, the Fairfield City Council, did we already get the numbers for District 4? Okay, we updated those, so it is Joy at 8.47, Martinez 43.06, and Bertani 48.05. And let's see, so District 6, Manvere is in the lead at 50.88, and Anna Eaton at 48.63. And for Sassoon City Council, the numbers have just been up. And I'm not sure where they are at how many precincts they have to go. Sassoon is pretty small. It looks like Amid Powell is holding a strong lead at 35.48. Right now, Shepherd is in at 28.20. Thomas Kamen is at 18.53, and then Marlin is at 17.41. And then let's see, the Dixon mayor race with Steve Byrd, 57.57. And in the lead of Steve Byrd, and then we have James Ward, who's 16. Vacaville School Board with Michelle Guerrero, 30.06. And Michael Kitsis, I'm probably pronouncing it wrong, I apologize to him in his campaign. He's at 36.29. So he's got a little lead up in front of her, but man, she's doing impressive. Rob 45.12. It looks like the gentleman Ted, I don't want to butcher his name, is at 54.66. We'll come back to the District 6 in Vallejo. District 1 in Vallejo, like Alex Matias is 49.94. If his lead stays as it is, he's going to be taking it for the night. So we're going to come back to these city races. Let's see, I think we are doing District 6 right now. Wow. Oh, wow. Helen Cookie Gordon is at 50.18 and Christina 49.26. Wow. Very interesting. Okay. So look, I mean, listen, these are local races, local election, and this is all very fascinating. Any thoughts on any of this? I mean, Leo needs strong leadership. And so does Soon. As well. I'm shocked at some of these numbers, but
Yeah, same,
yeah.
same.
Do we know how Measure S is doing, Lakeisha?
We do.
No?
Yes, we do. Now it's at 72. What did we go?
Other side. All right. So Measure S is killing it. It looks like it's gonna pass. Measure Trump is at 72.48. Oh, no. Excuse me, at 7206. And no on Measure is 27%. It looks like the residents of Sassoon City understand the assignment. I got text messages coming through asking, is Trump, I don't know, there must have been a change in the numbers for him.
No, it has not.
Okay, so looks like there has not been a change yet. Adam Schiff 60.84 and Steve Garvey 39.16. Poor kid. Christopher Gabaldon, we already called that race 60.66. Christopher Gabaldon came from doing amazing things in Sacramento. And Tom Bogue, very nice guy who's on city council in the city of Dixon. But when you have a history and legacy kind of that Christopher Gabaldon reshaping West Sacramento, you can only look at him and say, listen, got a couple of cities here, we need you desperately to bring that vision here. So very excited for him, so yeah.
He was my professor at Sac State for a few classes. Went back to take my master's program, yeah.
Really? Very nice man. I liked him a lot,
It
so.
was interesting, yeah, good classes.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to, working with him and, in the community and so forth and seeing what ideas that he has. This is really an interesting night, I gotta say. I mean, I'm shocked at some of these numbers. I gotta go and look. Now keep in mind, folks, that it takes sometimes for these local races up to about 5 days to get all the results in. Presidential races could take a little longer. I don't know, it looks like Trump is gonna take it. Yeah, and it looks like, yeah, it's looking like someone to take this race that we might not have expected. But, you know, hey, listen, I'm just looking for change up and new change and new shift, and we need it.
Yeah,
So.
yeah, I agree. I would like to. Some people do better
Mm-hmm.
than I'm seeing right now. I think school board is very important, like you were saying,
Yeah.
for a variety of reasons.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, we'll see how it goes. This Measure S.
Yeah, that was necessary, very necessary. Lakeisha, how's Measure E doing in Vacaville? I'd like to really know what the voters think about Measure E. As I was saying, I voted against it. I just, it wasn't enough information. There was too many propositions, way too many measures on there.
Vacaville was actually smart.
Oh.
I'd love to know how is it doing.
Very well. Relatively.
Very good, very good. It looks like Measure E, and I'm a resident of Vacaville, so it's very important. So we're gonna get the numbers on Measure E really quickly. So, were there any particular races that you were excited about?
You know, some of the school board races, yeah, like I said,
Yeah.
the Senate, it would have been interesting. Having met Steve Garvey is pretty cool.
Yeah.
I would have loved to have a change in the Senate, to have California get something different.
California gotta want it, and they got it. But I will tell you this: in 2026, right, is a mayor race because Newsom.
Governor race, yeah.
It's a governor.
Yes.
What did I say? Mayor's race.
Oh,
Jesus.
my.
It's a governor's race. So yeah, looks like Measure E, no is leading at 52.04 to no. And I hope it doesn't pass.
Vacaville understands this.
I hope so.
Fairfield did not.
Yeah, no, I hope so because it doesn't make any sense. People are putting all these measures and they should have campaigned, they should have done more to get out the community, the conversation, they should mailers. They put Measure E on an endorsement with Michael Kittner, or whoever he is. I don't know who he is. I saw it on one flyer and it was no more so than the ballot. If you want me to give you tax money from my taxes, you need to explain to me what it is. You need to explain to me why you're taking these steps. You need to tell the oversight is going to be, what the money specifically is going to be used for so that we can hold it accountable. And most importantly, why are we letting developers come in here for schools? Obviously, people have families and are having families. It's unconscionable to me that you would let people come and build a whole community and no damn school.
Yeah.
Well, where the kids going? The schools are already packed to the hills with people.
Yeah.
It's just irresponsible. So I think they need to, if it doesn't pass, and hopefully it doesn't, go back to the drawing board and come up with and have meetings and community conversations and talk to us about it. And I got these development deals, and don't let anybody else build any more in this damn city unless you've got a commitment of what they're investing into the families. This is crazy.
Yeah.
So I don't want to pay for that. I don't even have any kids in school now. They're all in college. But still, so.
That is actually, you were saying earlier, no policies. One of the things that he said is he wants to fight for school choice, which I'm a big fan of. I think that the public schools in California have a stronghold on all of the public funding.
And they're horrible.
And what is wrong with healthy competition? Maybe the reduced burden on them will actually give the public schools the ability to refresh their schools and have class sizes like everybody wants.
Yeah.
And then parents get more choice. I would love school choice in California.
Well, I think it's important. I think one of the things that has been really hurtful is not just the choice, because it involves parent. You're going to send your kid to the school that has the best opportunities. Well, what does that mean for the other schools and the kids who are not, parents are not as engaged? These schools have to start functioning fair, and these school boards need to be held more accountable. But the parents, it's on the parents. Government should not be leading our lives. Government shouldn't be doing everything for us. You have kids and don't care if they read. You don't care if they get an education. One of the reasons I said that I was okay with what Kamala did with the parents is, if your kid is truant and is not functioning properly, what was that? Deshaun. And not functioning properly, what do we do? And so I need for people to know what's going on with the educational system and with schools and so forth. So,
Yeah, I agree with that. It is very difficult as a parent of a 3-year-old. Thankfully, I don't have to deal with a lot of it, but I do pay for daycare right now. I pay a lot for daycare right now, and it's very difficult for to have to work 2 jobs.
Sure.
Seeing dual family households. So I understand because my kids are already so smart and I love it. I feel so blessed.
Yeah.
But there are situations where, and I feel like this is what really opened my eyes to a lot of the corruption during COVID, is that they had service industry and essential workers working in hotels, like hotel workers, service industry, like emergency workers working, and that meant their kids were home alone. And then you had a lot of politicians, both Republican and Democrat, holding events where everybody down doesn't have a mask on, but all of the service workers do. And what kind of economic disparity is that? And that's where I think we have all of our attention focused on what ethnicity are you, what gender are you, what do you identify as with your sexuality, instead of we hold, this group of people holds all the power, all the money, and we're all fighting over scraps of it.
Absolutely, absolutely, I agree.
And then they want more bond money, and they want us to vote for these bonds
Absolutely.
that don't even do what they say they're going to do.
Absolutely.
I voted no on all of it, except for 36.
Let's talk about 36 really quickly. We talked, and I voted against it, and so did Bernie, and so did Dr. Ramona Bishop. It was too vague. When it started off under the concept of smash and grab. People, because you want more law enforcement, is not a thing. It's not a thing, people. There has to be something behind it. Now it says for drugs and theft. What the hell is that? What is that? What is drugs? What drugs? Well, then it says fentanyl. Well, I thought we had an opioid crisis. If we don't have an opioid crisis, we're doing a whole initiative on that. They got to figure this out, because it doesn't tell me. I thought we were going after the people that were smashing and grabbing, the folks that were deliberately going in and taking from businesses and tearing. I thought that was the mission here. And now it looks like it's changed to something else. And people are dying from fentanyl. Who the hell you arresting? They all dropping dead. Who's getting arrested? I thought we were going to schools and teaching and training people. I don't know what the mission is here, but when we get so stuck on society and gelling people, then we're losing. We're losing as a society. We don't see that if you've got a drug problem, it could be mental illness. Maybe you are medicating for something. Maybe you're coping. We just want to throw everybody in jail, and then they say, oh, well, look, it's black and brown. Well, who's had the most trauma in this? Who are living and dealing with the most poverty in this country? You think people who are poor walking around here smiling and sunshine? So I think we have to have a balance on law enforcement, because then it makes people hate them, and then makes people they don't respect them. So we have to have our Prop 36 will probably pass because the conservatives wanted to, and I agree with it to a certain extent. But it was vague, and it wasn't, and it was just from a prosecutor's standpoint.
You know what got me to really like it was that Gavin Newsom is against it. I was like, oh,
okay, you don't get to vote for nothing.
Yeah, so I mean, we need deterrents to crimes, and a deterrent is effective if you actually follow through with it.
Jail's never been a deterrent.
No.
We're the country that has the most crime.
So
what deterrents?
Crime in California, especially property crime, especially merchandise. You talked about Sassoon City not having any storefronts; they only have restaurants. A lot of that is because of the property crime. Talk to a lot of the small business employees, Ace Hardware employees. Those little phone places. They get stolen from on the daily. They have multiple people come into there, and that is because of what happened with Prop 47, where that's no longer a crime, and because of what Kamala Harris did with the prisons, where now a lot of those prisoners are in county jails. County jails don't have the capacity to take in people that are committing routine crime, and they have a rap sheet as long as my arm, and they have opportunities to rehabilitate, but
where
they don't have any deterrent to the crime.
Yeah,
So they
where
just-
are these opportunities to
Well,
rehabilitate?
it's the street where they're staying because
We
they're
know.
not going anywhere.
We know there are is not rehabilitation. Half of the nonprofits that claim to rehabilitate are taking money. They're doing nothing. They're
I
doing
agree.
nothing. That's a whole nother situation. They're
Yeah.
doing nothing with any people. So I understand from your standpoint where it should be and what we have, and you're absolutely right. We don't have those things.
No, and
we
I
don't
agree
have
with
a
your
system.
balance.
Yeah, we have to. And so if Kamala did it wrong, then where were the conservative folks that she's wrong? Let us balance this out. Where's the other folks? Nobody did. They just went with it. I mean, I don't know if she's where it begins or not, but I just know that tossing people away isn't the answer. Because
Yeah.
we're the that has to, like, we're supposed to be the most powerful country in the world. We have the most crime. We have the most shootings in schools. We have the murders than any country. And so we're not doing it right. None of us are doing it right. And we're not doing it right because there's too much control somewhere. We need more balance in this country. We definitely need more balance in this state. So whatever this turns out, oh my God, Godspeed with all of us.
Yeah, and that's a good point. We need balance in the state. The reason why the Prop 47 stuff and all the crime has been almost like a magnet to people
Sure.
to commit crime in our state is because California is a Democratic majority and a Democrat supermajority for the past 6 years,
You're
I
right.
believe.
And look at us, stepping over homeless.
So yeah, that is a good argument for balance, regardless of how I feel about the Republican Party now. More of them will at least stop some of this stuff that's going on.
Well, we'll see, because we haven't had any stop, but you're right, when there's a supermajority to have. So, but it doesn't matter. If he doesn't take the Senate and he doesn't take the House, it doesn't matter. None of that matters. It'll be more of the same, and until we have elected officials that are not doing this for self and doing it for the people, they'll continue to work together. It won't even matter.
Yeah, I agree. I think they did call the Senate for Republicans. I want to say.
Did they?
I believe it was at least 51, and they might add even more.
Well, you know what? What if the Democrats? So, listen, whatever. We got to go back, wherever we got to go back to, we need more fiscal responsibility, in my opinion. We think we need a shakeup. We absolutely have to have a shakeup, and more debt and seeing more despair, and then keeping people tied to a system of oppression, which is these subsidies and this low income. I've never understood affordable housing. Why are we not requiring people to have a limitation so we can get to having regular housing and feeling good and emboldened and proud of yourself? Keeping them in a place of subjugation. I can't, so.
Oh yeah, and that was one of the propositions, was the rent control proposition that was also vetoed by the governor. So that was one of the
That was one you
reasons I voted.
You're ridiculous. So we're gonna have to work on your voting for you. Prop 3 looks like it's gonna pass. 60.07 yes, 39.3 no. You know what? We're gonna see. We're gonna see the final numbers are. I like to see how many precincts have been picked up and what the percentage is before I start weeping. Not specifically on that one, but we'll see. So, but I know we are going to be closing at 11 o'clock. And shutting down for the evening, but any closing thoughts or any ideas, anything you want to share with the audience?
No, not that I can think of right now. I've just been having a fun time here.
We have.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, this has been a lot of fun. It's been a lot of fun. This, to me, is the best way to watch an election coverage. Because we covered all of it, tore it down, and put it back together. So this is really the best way to do it. So
Yeah, I do love it. Okay, I thought of something.
very good. There you go.
Regardless of who wins any of the races, God is in control, so it's all gonna be fine. And this all brought us together. And I love
Of course. Listen, this is, people have to agree to disagree. We don't always, even though I'm conservative, we don't always agree conservatively. But still, we're sister in arms, so it doesn't matter. And it's okay that we have different opinions and whatever else, and then we're able to see different people.
Yes.
No. Okay.
Oh, I think someone over there was talking about how all of Kamala's recent Hollywood supporters on the Diddy list.
Who said that?
Okay, I was thinking about
You know what? She knows the way to close out the evening. I am not touching any of that because I don't know and I don't smoke. But listen, whatever happens, we'll be okay, and we'll all figure it out and do the best that we can. Like I said, I'm most concerned with local elections. So you guys, for those of you who didn't vote, my daughter gets to vote next year. She turns 18 December 2nd, so she didn't get a chance. My son voted. This was his first year voting. I was an independent.
Ooh.
I didn't vote for either one of the presidential candidates, but my son, he voted for one of them. I wanted to make, well, I don't want to tell his business,
Right.
but I wanted to make sure he felt comfortable voting for who he wanted to. So I told him, you don't have to vote my way, and you don't have to vote based upon me. You vote on you and what you see and what you want for this America that you live in. And so he felt that he made the best choice that represents him as a young man. So
I love that. That's
Yeah.
so cute. Good for you guys.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, you want to raise your kids to be critical thinkers and independent thinkers. And so many, my mom and my dad, you figure out, he's of a different party than I am. I had them go look and check out what each party is, and then I had to write me a summary, and they had to, of what each party was and why they that party. Because it's easy to just say, oh, mom, I'll be whatever you are, but do you even understand what I am? And he felt that he was most aligned with a different party, and my daughter was most aligned with a different party, and they both registered to vote at 17. Now, what I did tell them, they have to register to vote, because that's one of the civil liberties that you have, and it's one of the most important things. And when we were phoning, people were saying that I'm not voting. Oh, I'm not voting. I thought to myself, you are really throwing away opportunities. It's just unfortunate. So
Yeah, the way that I convinced my cousin is to cancel out somebody else's vote. Did you really want this person making the decision for you?
Yeah.
Or do you want to at least cancel their vote out?
absolutely. I totally agree. So it looks like the winners of tonight that are obvious are going to be Measure S for Sassoon City. Congratulations, Sassoon City. They need it. And there's some great people that really worked hard to bring Measure S. We're going to be looking at Sassoon City. We're going to be watching, and we encourage students to get involved in what's going on. Ask, how do I get on that the committee to make sure that there's oversight? How do I sit down and ask questions with my city council person to see how these things are going? So, it's very clear and it's very simple. So it looks like Measure E right now is a no. I hope it continues. 36 is definitely going to pass at 72.35. No, couldn't catch up if it tried. So we're getting ready to say goodnight to you guys. Thank you for joining us on TeeTalk. Vibe. Thank you, Power88.fm. That is our platform here. Wonderful night with you guys. Please do not forget, as I forgot, to hit subscribe so that you'll know all of the different stations and lives that we have going on. And please add your comments as well. I want to thank our engineer. Thank you, Jenny. Thank you, Dr. Ramona Bishop. Thank you, Vernon Williams, for not following any directions. And thank you, Lakeisha. Thank you, Wanda. And thank you, Larry, for joining us and being a part of our audience here. So you guys have a wonderful evening. For those of you who voted, you are a part of democracy, and we appreciate you. So everyone, have a good night. Too stressed out. What will be is what will be, and we'll move forward. Have a good night, everybody. Bye.
That was wonderful and beautiful.
Just added one more.
One more.
Son, mute.
Just change. Another point.